Hey everybody, welcome back to another K-Saw Media review. This is Ian here along with Chris.
What's up?
We're hot off the trail, coming off of, I should say maybe the hot lead trail, screaming hot lead of Dark Tower. We both just got out to check this one out this weekend. Plenty of gunslinging, plenty of action craziness, but both of us, actually I should say neither of us, have any experience with the novels here.
Right.
Heard critically that that's not necessarily a bad thing to distance yourself from, but got it in, and really wasn't that long of a film either. I'm looking at it,
No.
it was like an hour and a half, I think, a runtime total.
95 minutes with the credits.
Yeah.
So not even a 90-minute movie. Overall, what was your feeling of The Dark Tower?
Very solid action. I I felt it gave away. In fact, some of the best action sequences right up front in some of the earlier trailers we saw. Even that aside, really fun, really cool ride with all that. What you'd expect, from I think a summer action film. Even without knowing the background, the full density of all 8 books and the novels, I wanted to see more lore here. I wish that was explored a little more. Some broader things about the world developed. Not just the we have about gunslingers, but about the main antagonist too.
Yeah, I approached this a little bit differently than how we approach most of these things that come off of Star Wars or comic books or something like that. I approached this knowing next to nothing about this. What I've picked up is basically from other Stephen King movies, not even any of the books, as we established in the last review. I cannot read, so I don't. It's a tough life. But I have not read any of these things, so I actually came into this like, well, this will be an interesting perspective for me. I don't know anything about this. I know that they've been talking. I know that they come from Stephen King.
Right.
I knew there was a series of books. I knew a lot of the lore from previous books, prior books, kind of all attach here into the Dark Tower books. This is kind of like the hub for the Stephen King world that we see tiny glimpses of, which apparently are to some extent all connected in
Right.
some ways. That I knew some of that, but this was kind of like, hey, all right. So I have to agree that the lore stuff didn't bother me too much.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was good or not for me, but I think the biggest departure for me was the fact that this was not a horror movie.
It wasn't. Off the bat, I'll be honest. Just seeing the general trailers, especially some of like the hellish themes, I was really feeling a pseudo Constantine vibe from this, or really picking up more on the supernatural elements and running with that. Whereas in fact, we really get very few cuts of the abyss, the hell that's out there, waiting to break through and destroy the Dark Tower realm and our realm and everywhere else, which was kind of strange. I came into it thinking that, and then I sort of leave thinking I almost feel like this is Equilibrium Part 2.
See, now, it was kind of fun. So I get over that pretty quick, which was kind of jarring. I don't know for you, but the last preview before the movie started was for Stephen King's It, the redo for the movie It, which was all about horror, obviously, and all about scaring the crap out of you, which looks good. Of course, did you see the original It miniseries from TV?
I didn't.
With John Ritter? Oh, John Ritter. Okay, so that's a name drop probably no one's going to get, but people old like me. Do you know who John Ritter is?
I don't. You got me, man.
From Three's Company? Oh, come on. Jack Roper? No?
No. I'm shot.
Okay, all right. So that's okay. That's all right. We're talking about shit that happened 30 years ago. So. It's so to see the preview for that movie and then going into the current Stephen King movie or novel-based movie. It was like, hey, all right. So, there's a couple shocking things, but this is not a horror movie. This is a fantasy movie. That being said, once I quickly, without any issues, adapted to that. I really enjoyed this overall. I enjoyed the fact that I didn't know a lot about the books. There was enough for me to grasp onto. It's like, oh, that's a couple things that I've seen from the other movies.
For
that's
sure.
Kind of some hints about things from The Mist. The most obvious one, and this is not really a spoiler, is that the boy, the one of the heroes of the movie is very strong with the shine, which, if you've been paying attention to any of Stephen King's movies in the past, obviously the shine, obviously from the movie The Shining, is a telepathic type ability that many of his characters have had in the past. But this kid is the most powerful with it. There's enough small ones. So if you're a casual fan like I was approaching this, you're grasping little nuggets of this. And,
right.
That's fun, but at the same time, it kind of reminds you all the same, this is not a horror movie, whereas every time in the past these have been.
Right.
But what I did enjoy about it the most was that this was almost nostalgic as far as its feel. This very much felt like something that they've not been able to recreate too often. This very much felt like a typical fantasy 80s movie. I don't know how you got from that, but this very much had the same kind of feeling as Neverending Story, Labyrinth, and movies such like that. And obviously not the same as far as all the details, but just how the score played, how it was directed.
Right.
It's overall how it told the story a lot as well.
Yeah, what made me raise an eyebrow as I was coming, because I actually hadn't looked at the full rating to this, and I was buying my ticket, and I said PG-13, and I mean, he said, oh wow, it's not R. That's really what I was expecting. Especially in the vein of horror. And I know, call me a dunce for not paying close enough attention to trailers, whatever. But that alone made me start to think. I said, oh, maybe I should temper my expectations a little bit. Sort of glad I did. Now, myself, I have not followed previous Stephen King novels, so I'm even more of a casual novice here. I think that's another good comparison to draw, and I really didn't have that other base to build from. But no, I mean it's a fun ride. Like I don't feel it's as, while you have strong action, it's not mindless action. I don't feel like this is a Crank. You've seen that, Jason Statham, right?
I avoided Crank.
Yeah,
I think that Jason. I've never been a big Jason Statham fan, but just any movie called Crank.
Yeah.
I don't think you're hitting on some of the elements here I look for in my movie.
Well, so. you were wise. You were wise to do so.
Is that the one where he's got to keep his heart rate up a certain?
That's the one. It was crazy.
Okay, I have seen parts of that on TV. You can turn that off when it was for free on TV. I'm like, no, that's all right. That was dumb.
Real crazy, but it's good that this did come packaged without just mindless action and whatnot. It at least drew you in, pulled you in enough to make you want to know who are the main operatives in this world, or worlds plural. How are things unfolding? And really, what's Idris Elba there for? What's he going to end up choosing in the end? I think you don't have to think too hard about that. He's a protagonist, for goodness sake. But it's a fun ride. It was not quite what I was expecting either way, actually, but still fun.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the actors a little bit here. I think they all did a really good job. I have not in the past seen Matthew McConaughey in this kind of a role. I thought he did just fine as that. Have you?
No, I'm thinking I see Matthew McConaughey and I'm like, hey, buddy, you should be driving Lincolns or something on commercials. What do you?
That's horrible. That's horrible.
What he's like? What are you doing as the devil? But
no, is he the devil?
I only.
He certainly feels like he's the devil, but I don't think I ever heard him reference it. He's a dark sorcerer.
Exactly.
There's definitely some comments about hell, and you do get that feeling.
Yeah,
that can't be an accident.
Exactly, and I know I'm shortchanging that a little bit. He's literally not. There's never any huge reveal in the film saying he is X or he's. Yeah, the most we know is he is a sorcerer, but this is one of the slight shortcomings. I really wish I knew more about the origin of his character, exactly where he was drawing his power, sort of why the whys and hows of how this war began, and everything. He's an enigma at the start, and I think he's an enigma in the movie ends too. But he nailed it. He tenacious, ruthless, and just driven, consistent. I thought it was really cool in that regard.
It's it's kind of an old saying that. Well, I don't even know if it's saying. I won't say any certain saying. But basically, it's an old rule that your good guy looks better when you have a great bad guy. And I thought Matthew McConaughey did a really good job of that. Before we get into any spoilers of that, I thought the cast actually was really good. They actually stood out. This is something that I've noticed from time to time with Stephen King movies, is that the casting is typically pretty good. There's usually, I think, a lot of thought that goes into that. I think, without me knowing for sure, it certainly seems like he definitely plays a hand as far as picking who these people are. Because, I mean, again, you go as far back as 40 years ago with Jack Nicholson creating his career with The Shining, and these characters are always portrayed really well. And again, talking out of the context of having read the books, but just they stand out.
Right.
And they all stood out here, and I thought they all did a really good job. Let's see, I'm going to look at this here. Actually, how do you pronounce this? The guy who played Roland, Idris Elba, I believe that is.
Yeah, I always say Idris, but tomato,
Idris?
potato. Go ahead.
Sure. That's fine. No, he was great. I thought he played a great, the gunslinger and everything. I really don't have anything else more specific to say other than I thought the cast was awesome. In particular, Matthew McConaughey, who generally I don't like in movies, but he's starting to actually make a comeback between this and Interstellar. I'm starting to be able to handle that guy again because he's done some complete garbage in the past.
Oh yeah, Interstellar. I forgot that was him too. I did hear a comment about the role of Roland, and I think this is just coming off of the recent Magnificent Seven. There's just some comments out there about Denzel Washington would have been a good pick for this role too, but. I mean, hey, Denzel's amazing at whatever he sits in, but hey, Idris is just solid. He can definitely play rugged, aloof. He can play psycho. He can play like committed commander, like general. We've seen him in all these roles, and I think that's a win-win regardless. There was not a moment where I thought, but X would have been better in that role instead.
I marked out a little bit when I forget the guy's name. The guy who plays his dad in the movie, you see him briefly. That he was the guy who played the president in the 24 series, at least for the first few seasons. And
also the Allstate guy.
The Allstate guy, that's right. So we're just all about cars and insurance, I guess, with this one. But I always mark out for that guy. He's awesome. He's got such a great voice, and to see him in there briefly was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
Tom Taylor, who played Jack. Yeah, it's Jack or Jake. Whatever, I was getting confused. Whatever. He was good too. And that's one of the, obviously these when they have such an important role in the movie, that's it's good that they can carry it because these movies tend to suffer if they can't.
Right.
It was good. As far as that went, the action, like you said, I thought was really good. None of it felt unnecessary. It actually, I think it all carried a lot of weight to it. It told a pretty good story.
Especially because you feel the at least the vibe I get is that weaponry isn't just inherently thrown in. Sling some lead, sling some explosions against the wall. It's all you have. Like if you think about it, there's a narrative told through the gun itself that has such a story behind it. And if anything, I think that's further compounded. I mean, every bullet means something. Not just because they're rare in the world that our main character comes from, but also his creed. The thing that he's lived by, his entire life. It just puts, I think, more of a weight behind each of those scenes, and it makes all of them a lot more impactful. I really dug that.
So that being said, to counter that, I will say that there were definitely times in this movie where I thought things were really shallow.
Yeah.
There was a couple scenes leading up that could have had some more context to them. I would have to say that the very end of the movie, the end battle, when it's done, it's done. And
yeah,
you know what I mean by that. But
yeah,
I was like, really, that's it. That's all that it felt like in a movie that had a lot of lore and a lot of detail to it. The ending was surprisingly lacking as far as how that happened. And again, we're not in the spoiler section yet, so I'm being vague about it.
Right, and that very ending as well is actually what made me stay behind. I actually stayed just to check out credits to make sure. Am I missing something here? Is I know this. We're not talking MCU, Marvel Universe. I'm probably not going to see a thing, but just in case. Yeah.
Well, there was. It's my understanding, and there is no after credits scene, but it's my understanding there is whistling. Is there whistling?
There is. So you hit the very end of the credits, and there is the whistle, which is the theme of our main antagonist for Michael McConaughey. Michael McConaughey's character,
Walter.
Yep. So it's there, and you can take that one of two ways. I think you can, well, maybe 3 or 4 if you have a different opinion. I know I was of the persuasion that that's either, hey, just the music score wrapping up. There's your medley done. Or you can take that as sequel.
I don't take it as anything because I know we were talking about this before the show. We'll get it. I guess now's a good time to get into it. There's been talk about a TV show. This is obviously off from a series of books. I think you told me that this was based off of the first 3 books. Obviously summed up how these things are connected. If these things happen, all depends on how this movie does.
Yeah, and I actually do want to issue a slight correction about that. You alerted me to the TV series, which I didn't know was being developed, but I dug into that a bit. And yeah, while this movie is based off the first 3 books or so, the TV series is supposed to be based off book 4, at least starting there roughly. But according to Entertainment, E-Weekly, this was actually back in, I think, September, that the TV series would at least be following the same continuity as the film that was going to be released. So I don't know how that's going to translate to everyone we saw and actors, etc. But I mean, at least based the same.
Same universe, but not same actors, not following the same characters.
Right. I'm sure it should follow the same characters at some point. I just don't have any information pointing to the casting of the exact same actors and whatnot. I hope we do soon. I wish I had more on that, but I just don't.
Yeah, the duo was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. A lot of these, again, going back to a lot of that stuff is forced nowadays, but the duo of Roland and Jake was I really enjoyed it. Very opposite attracts in ways that you don't normally see.
Right.
So I would definitely like to see more. I mean, I hope this does well. I would like to see a sequel, not like Pet Sematary 2, which. You've seen it. I don't need to ask if you've seen it, but I actually know you've seen it.
I mean, you're talking to the the Superman guy, worst Superman movie ever. So,
oh,
yeah,
Superman 4.
Yeah,
was that The Quest for Peace, wasn't it?
I think so.
Freaking Quest for more money.
Nuclear Man, the best.
Anyways, so look, if you're a Stephen King fan, you've already made up your mind about this, whether you're going to go see it or not. If you're not, like us, I recommend it.
For sure. I actually would too. We're still in the summer action block, so if you still got an appetite for it, go for it. It's the big relief I think for me is that I'm not watching Transformers. It wasn't that, and I was actually glad I skipped because I'm like, I've saved some of my action appetite for some cool stuff now.
I am too. I'm glad that you talked me out of that. We're gonna get into that later on in the Jagged Edge, though. But okay, so I guess 1 out of 10. What? 1 out of 10 shines. 1 out of 10. What do we call it?
Yeah, I was trying to.
Bullets?
I was trying to think bullets, but I'm like, there's 6 shooters, and we're gonna count all funny, and then 12, and then 2 guns, and 6. Never mind. Shines works.
1 out of 10 shines. What would you give it?
Out of shines, I was coming out of this, and I'm like, I don't see somewhere in my mind where I put this below Atomic Blonde. I'm gonna put this where I put Atomic Blonde. 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Because while I personally did not bug me a lot on a lot of things that you brought up, there was definitely we are looking at a piece of time in these novels, and there is a lot of things missing. While I really enjoyed this, and it was actually nostalgic, which I don't get much anymore.
Yeah.
Hardly ever. I really enjoyed Matthew McConaughey. This did seem like there was a lot missing. At times, it did seem really shallow. The ending was really, really not great. I give this a 6. It's definitely above. It's definitely above average, but there was definitely some things missing here.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. The what I was hovering over actually coming out of the theater, I'm like, 6.5. That's where I was at, but that came up half a point as I got here.
Yeah. All right, yeah. Well, yeah. I'm right there. I was between 6 and 7 as well. I'm going to go with a 6 though. Okay. Spoilers. Any spoiler stuff you want to talk about?
If unless you want to wait on it, it might be jumping too fast. That ending.
What happened?
Yeah, I just look. My comment about that. Okay, I'm taken back to Planet of the Apes instantly here. A few weeks back we spoke about the end of that film, how it seemed just a little too quick, too piecemeal. Everything's tied up with a nice gold ribbon on it. Right. It's done. That's it. This
also very 80s in that regard too, but that's not a good thing.
No, it's not. This got wrapped up way too fast. I mean, I'm talking about the Christmas present that you're about done with, and then Mom snatched it back up to repack it because she realized, I forgot the socks. Something like that.
So he kills Walter,
right?
And then you see Jake, and he's in the chair, and then Jake is not in the chair, and then everything blows up, and then it's done. And I'm like, what?
I mean, I'm following the progression of events here. Okay, he takes out Walter in a very cool way, mind you. I love the ricochet.
That was a great fight.
It was good, solid gunfight. Again, very reminiscent of Equilibrium, while taking its own page, not ripping by any means. But you have that, and I said, all right. Then in the next motion, Jake gets freed. I said, all right. Then he's gone. He's booked it across the room, gotten past any obstacle, and then the one bullet. Okay, I've heard of a quick close, but the one bullet that hits the main machine or contraption that triggers a chain reaction that takes out a massive multi-story base in the middle of nowhere was a little much. It felt very instantaneous to me. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Right, and he didn't do his special thing like he did earlier in the movie where he stood there and concentrated and lifted his arm and did the special aim shot that he did, which went through various houses and all that stuff that killed him. He didn't do that there.
Right.
So I don't. That was it. Really kind of takes you out.
It does, and that we pointed. That was really the most jarring part for me, and really made me wonder. Wait, is the sorcerer actually done? Is that it? But it was so.
Didn't he drag his body back through the portal or something? Or what happened to his body?
So for the sorcerer, right?
Yeah.
He got the last bullet was a headshot. Right. That put him the velocity of it. They put him back through the portal. It's like he got pushed back through it. And there
that's right.
And there he lie. That's it.
I guess that should have been a tip right there that they're going to wrap this up really too quickly and neatly.
That's and that too. I thought that maybe this is a super short snapshot, maybe another chance for lore building, finding a bit more about him. Maybe somehow his essence escapes or whatever else. But no, none of that. It's just zipped.
Well, in that, that's kind of. I think part of what makes that kind of distracting and kind of jarring is the fact that from everything else we've seen in the movie, while things are definitely, it's a fantasy movie, it is very gritty, and then that ending is all very superficial and very lacking of context of how that all happens at the end. It just takes you out. I don't want to hyperanalyze it too much, but it's like what happened to everything else? What happened to in getting into that a little bit. What happened to all those monsters that wear the skin? Which they're definitely. I agree with you. There needed to be more about that. They showed us very little of that, but they, of these creatures themselves. At least maybe I might have missed it. But they show plenty of the creatures wearing the skin. They show us a little bit about that, and then, but not nearly enough. It's like they tease you about it the whole time.
Right.
Like, what do they look like? What do they look like? And I think the closest we get is we get to see kind of what they look like with their face covered. Partially,
yeah. With that, the most glaring part of it is this. Besides the little we get to see of them or how they operate and everything else, is their base of operations itself. Bear in mind this is a place that Roland himself doesn't even seem to know a whole lot about. We spend some of the earlier parts of the film. Once he gets acquainted with Jake's character, he starts to ask, well, okay, you're seeing visions of this place. Where is it? The first thing he wants to do is go find it, because that's going to be his link to taking out the sorcerer. And I said, okay, this must be hidden pretty good, or must have some kind of extra lore behind it where not even someone as old as a gunslinger would have any idea about this place. But it's just sort of not. It's just, it's it.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. What did you think about the power of Walter, of the sorcerer? What did you think of that?
Oh, that was mystifying stuff. That pulled me in. If anything, it's almost something pseudo godlike. Most of the time, which really made me wonder about that whole supernatural element to him. Usually when I hear the sorcery skill set or something like that, I'm thinking wind up time. You'll have a chant. There's more, glitz and fire, but his ability to manipulate and just to control organic life, period, was crazy. And pretty hacks, to be honest. I'm like, thank God Roland had some immunity. And and that's another question too. Maybe this is answered in the books. I have no idea. I want to know now. What was it about Roland that made him immune, or that gave him the extra immunity to sorcery? And so many other gunslingers fell to this. I'm not following.
I think at first the abilities of Walter is very shocking, and it does pull you in a bit. But then when you see him continue to use these abilities, I think it equally takes you kind of out of it. It becomes a little bit too much. It's not very compelling. At first it is, but then it's just kind of like, oh well, all right, he's just gonna do that. I like the premise. Be able to just say stop breathing, or kill each other, or hate. It's very compelling, but I don't think they played with in the movie as well as they should have.
No, I agree. And I thought some of those were linked to, maybe a larger theme, or like some other larger statement, I guess, about, how he does what he does. But that's what we got, and it's what we have.
And why didn't he just use it on Jake?
Right.
Sit in the chair and, behave yourself.
Again, we're led to, believe that there's unexplained relationships. There's something about the nature and level of his power that he has some sort of resistance. Okay, if he does, sort of fill us in a little more on that. We don't need a 30-minute explanation, but I think that's very easy to do with what they've already built, and we just didn't have that.
And now I'm guessing from what you're saying. Have you seen The Shining?
Yes, I have.
Okay, you have. All right. So you have some context of his power.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, but if you haven't even seen that, which, in all honesty, who hasn't seen The Shining? But again, it's missing. It's kind of a shame, and I actually like the fact that this movie was only 95 minutes. Having seen a lot of these movies that drag on to 2.5 hours, and thank God we're not in the days of Lord of the Rings anymore. We're 4.5 with the extended versions on DVD. It's like, good God.
Yeah.
I can't go into work this week. I got to watch this movie. Ridiculous and stuff like that. To have it be a 95-minute movie was nice.
There's something to be said for brevity. Not everything has to be 2.5 hours or 3-hour epics. I think if you can tell an effective tale in a good short clip, more power to you.
But I think an extra 10-15 minutes to add context to some of these things would have been important.
For sure.
Or maybe not. I haven't read these books. Maybe if they even tried to delve into these things, it would bring up more questions than it answers. I don't know.
Possibly. Beats me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we don't know.
No.
So if they do come up with this TV show, which I think is going to be a ways away yet,
right?
If they do, you going to watch it?
Sure.
Yeah, I think I'll check it out.
We're tuning in.
Is that going to make you get into the books?
I actually kept myself from jumping into a lot of heavier spoilers about the books here, because after seeing this film, I actually am interested in that. I'm a pretty avid reader. So picking up a novel series, that'd be great. And I've never been a prolific Stephen King follower. I got a lot of variety in what I jump into anyway. But Yeah, for sure. I actually do want to pick up the book.
I don't.
Well,
but I'm gonna watch the movie, or I'm gonna watch the TV show. I hope they come out with a sequel. I thought this was fun. I think if they can, if they can build off of this properly, I think there's a lot of fun to be had here.
No, definitely. We don't see enough awesome gunplay. And, I'm kind of glad that another really solid gunplay action film has come to the forefront. I could be missing some. I've referenced it multiple times in our talk here. The last one I really remember as a standout was Equilibrium. Thought that film did not ever get the credit it deserved because Matrix ended up taking a lot of thunder in a sense, but just slick. Real slick, cool visuals. The last thing I remember even anything on that caliber was Magnificent Seven, which is also cool, but
on that, one thing that bothered me was the fact that they played with the idea of Roland getting on Earth and, asking if they have a lot of guns and bullets and stuff. And, Jake says, "Oh, you're going to like Earth." But then he never picks up any other gun.
He doesn't. He doesn't.
See, Roland, if he would have gotten like a rifle or a mini gun or something, I guess maybe that's a little too overpowered in Roland's hand. Maybe not shooting with his heart too much. I don't know.
I expected near the end of the film when he came into the gun store, I at least expected a sort of maybe a scaled down version of like how Neo geared up before he went into the lobby. He wasn't packing assault rifles everywhere, but he had enough. He once he spent what he had, he just tossed that, pulled out his next set, in a coat. It's like you got the coat for it. You got the backpack. Just go for it, man.
I get it. They even lay down the groundwork about how the gun's kind of like Excalibur.
Right.
I get that. And I'm not saying replace that gun, but that doesn't mean you can't pick up a minigun and take out a couple dozen motherfuckers with that first.
No, I agree.
That was my feeling. But no, he goes in there like, give me all your 45 bullets. I'm like, what, is that it? You're not even taking a shotgun?
I'll tell you what it lacks in a statement for practicality, I think it makes up for in a statement of badassery. It's just I stick to my gun so much. This is all I need.
Yeah, I get. I'm just waiting for somebody to use a fucking minigun. I guess ever since Daredevil season 2, and the Punisher shows up at the end with the minigun and doesn't use it.
Oh, what a letdown!
Yeah, I'm a little upset. So here we go. Here's Roland. He kicks ass with guns. He's asking about guns. He wants to know more about guns on Earth, and then he doesn't use them. Just give me your 45 bullets. Come on.
Now what are you gonna do?
20 gauge is just on the wall. Just take it.
It was.
Yeah, it's no. That's fine. You're right though. At the same time, it's like, well. Nah, but he's still awesome with this gun, which was fine, and that is really, really good work with that gun for sure. All right, I think that's it for me.
Yeah, that's all I got. That'll do it. So I'm not sure. I don't think we had anything else in our immediate doc. I know, of course, Thor Ragnarok. Eventually, will be the next one we tune into.
No, we're talking. Are we going to talk about other movies? Well, there's Blade Runner 2.
That is coming out before Thor. Why I kept thinking that was after Thor. I do want to see that, especially after
there's that Star Wars thing they're doing.
Very end of the year. We'll have Thor before that, but regardless, we still.
That was it for me for this movie.
Oh, no, I know, no, same here. I'm saying like as far as what we have slated up next, what everybody can be expecting. Was there anything else this month?
I think maybe Blade Runner. I know it's coming out soon.
Right.
I think actually our next review, which I'll be doing one just with myself or Voltron. I think the next review though might be The Defenders.
That's fair.
That is coming out, I think, in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
In fact, I think that is coming out in 2 weeks.
All right.
From yesterday.
Well, you heard it here, folks. Keep locked right here for more reviews, more content, all that good stuff. Drop us a line, of course, if you got any feels, maybe no feels, whatever else, or if you just like gunslingers.
Well, hold on. You're going through the usual routine, but in all honesty, if you are a big fan of these books, and if you love the movie, if we just got stuff totally wrong, please comment and let us know. Let us know the context that we don't have.
Please. Cool. All right. Look forward to hearing from you. Give us drop us a note about it, I have one request. If you do, please don't spoil the ending, the last book. If you already know it, that's all.
Whatever. You can spoil it with me.
Okay. Oh man, thanks.
It's the Stephen King stuff. They're all dead, right? Isn't that normally how they all end?
Usually. Dark and grim.
What do you think about the mom being dead? Before we go,
pretty dark.
I thought that was a little much. There was a lot of death.
There was. It would sort of set the whole apocalyptic stage, for this, which again made me think this was going in a slightly darker direction. It did.
I really didn't think he was going to kill the mom, though. I was like, hey, one, she's smoking hot, but second, yes, which I know doesn't really matter for the context of it, other than the fact that she's hot. But secondly, I mean, that just kind of seemed dumb. I don't know. It's like, well, you're trying to draw this kid in. Maybe take the mom. Maybe that's a little too movie cliche bad guy to kidnap the mom.
The whole kidnap thing. Yeah. Hey, it's cemented how ruthless he was, but it doesn't exactly endear your main target to you. So.
And he did use her kind of as a trap, her death, anyways.
True. Well,
all right. Whatever.
Villainous if I ever heard it. So, hey, thanks again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you soon.
See you later.